ज्योति परम ज्योति दीप ज्योति जनार्दना दीप ज्योति हरं पापं दीप ज्योति नमस्तुते सुखं करतु कल्याणम् आरोग्यं सुख संपदा द्वेषबुद्धि विनाशाय आत्मज्योति नमस्तुते आत्मज्योति प्रदीप्ताय ब्रह्मज्योति नमस्तुते ब्रह्मज्योति प्रदीप्ताय ज्योति नमस्ते ओम शांति शांति शांति।
Respected chairperson of this program, Pooja Das Pal, and Mr. Arijit Sharma and Pompi Sarkar. Most respected special guest of this program, Dr. S. C. Jamir, former Governor of Gujarat, Goa, Maharashtra, Odisha, and former Chief Minister of Nagaland. Madam Sushmita Dev is coming, her flight is delayed, so she is reaching very shortly. NP, she has started her flight from Calcutta morning. The flight is delayed, so she is coming. Respected Dr. Chumben Murray sir, advisor to the Chief CM of Nagaland, former MLA, Government of Nagaland. He is the guardian of our linguistic minority forum Nagaland. Mr. Shirajendra Dev is also coming. He is a chairman of Assam Linguistic Minority Welfare Board. Sir Captain Hekie, he is always with us as a guardian. His father, Dr. Hokshu Sama, he was there with us, and now he is there as an ancestor, and he has taken the charge, and he is always with us behind the screen. Today we are fortunate to have Sir Rulanthan Yanthan, who is Deputy Speaker of NLA Nagaland Assembly, is a former Deputy Speaker. We are fortunate to have him here in our midst. Honorable special invitees, guests, esteemed dignitaries, leaders from different organizations and communities. Different communities. I'm not taking the name. I can see Ayurveda. They are always there. Om Prakash Shetty ji, our most respected Kumar Subbaji, and all sitting here. I am not taking the name separately. All the community leaders. I'm grateful to all the leaders who made this program successful. They work behind the screen. I'm grateful to Muslim youth leaders, especially Mr. Fajul. He has supported us a lot. We have student leaders from Dimapur Government College, more than 100 students from Minority Students Union from Dimapur. From different colleges they came. NCC cadres, youth and fellow members of the Linguistic Minority Forum of Nagaland, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody present here. I stand before you today humbled and honored to address this gathering of brilliant minds and vibrant cultures. As the chairman of this forum, I am committed to uphold the right and promoting the interest of our linguistic minority communities in Nagaland. It is an honor to stand before such a dynamic and inspiring gathering of young minds at this youth conclave in front of our leaders. Today we are not just participants, we are change makers, visionaries, and the architects of a better tomorrow. Innovation, leadership, and responsibility, these are the pillars upon which we must build our path forward. We live in a world that is evolving at an unprecedented pace, and it is up to us to rise to the challenges, embrace new opportunities, and make a meaningful impact. As we engage in discussions, debates, and exchanges of ideas, let us remember that true leadership is not about authority, but about influence, action, and purpose. Let us use this conclave to connect, inspire, and be inspired. Let us today take the opportunity to remember the valuable contribution made by our elders since decades. Today, together we can create a future where youth voices are heard, where innovation thrives, and where progress knows no bounds. The time is now. The world is watching. Let's make it count. Today, we gather to celebrate our diversity, our languages, and our cultures. We come together to acknowledge the struggles of our past, to appreciate the progress of our present, and to aspire towards a brighter future. As we embark on this journey, let us remember that our languages are not just a means of communication, but a reflection of our identity, our heritage, and our traditions. We are fortunate to have with us today distinguished guests who have traveled from far and wide to join us in this celebration. We have the honor of hosting members of Parliament, Rajya Sabha, members, MLA, and local urban bodies, leaders from different organizations, Naga leaders especially, government missionaries who have been instrumental in the shaping the linguistic minority policies of our state and nation. We also have the privilege of welcoming linguistic minority members from the state and center who have worked tirelessly to promote the rights and interests of our communities. We are also joined by former Chief Minister of Nagaland, former Governor of Goa, Maharashtra, Gujarat and Odisha, Dr. S.C. Jamir, who have demonstrated exceptional leadership and vision in promoting the welfare of Nagas as well as linguistic minority communities. We are grateful for his presence and look forward to his insightful suggestions. Thank you, sir. Today we have honored to have Rajya Sabha MP Sushmita Dev, whose flight is delayed. I extend my heartiest gratitude for gracing the conclave with her valuable presence, even in her busy schedule. Her flight was delayed by an hour, but her concern on us brought her here in Dimapur, and she is reaching within 10-15 minutes. Thank you, Honorable MP Sushmita Dev. In addition to our distinguished guests, we also have with us today young members and community leaders who are passionate about promoting linguistic diversity and preserving our cultural heritage. We recognize the importance of empowering our youth and promoting intergenerational dialogue as we work together, building a more inclusive and equitable society. We are grateful to Dr. Chumben Murray, Sir Yanthan, to Captain Hikie, Chandu Agarwal ji, Om Prakash ji, and all of you who are present here. Throughout this conclave, we will engage in meaningful discussions, share best practices, and explore innovative solutions to promote linguistic diversity and preserve our cultural heritage. We will also celebrate our rich cultural tradition through music, dance, and art performances. But ladies and gentlemen, and my dear friends, we must also acknowledge that our linguistic minority communities have faced numerous challenges in exercising their rights. We have struggled to preserve our languages, to promote our cultures, and to protect our basic amenities. We have to work on education, employment, and other basic amenities related to food, clothes, and shelter. As the chairman of the forum, I pledge to work tirelessly towards addressing these challenges. We advocate for policies that promote linguistic diversity, that support language education, and that protect the basic rights of our communities. We will also strive to create opportunities for our youth to learn, to grow, and to thrive. We will provide platforms for them to showcase their talents, to share their ideas, and to connect with their peers. As we move forward, let us draw inspiration from our rich cultural heritage, let us celebrate our differences, and let us find strength in our diversity. Let us work together to build a society that is inclusive, equitable, and just. I would like to present before you certain facts that proves the valuable contribution made by our ancestors, our forefathers. To highlight some historical establishments, Dimapur Digambar Jain School was established in 1947. Dimapur Railway High School in 1951. Ram Janaki High School in 1971. Namghar High School in 1954. Ramakrishna Society, it is established in 1959 and later on registered in 1966. Dimapur Kalibadi in 1956. Many temples, gurdwaras and mosques were also established prior to statehood. Historical records shows that the masjid in Dimapur Purana Bazar was established in 1871. Dimapur Jame Masjid at Hajipat in 1906. Durga Mandir at Purana Bazar in 1882. Lakshmi Mandir at Madhupukuri in 1920. Kohima Sahitya Sabha in 1895. Jain Temple Kohima in 1910. And the Muslim burial ground at Naharwadi Dimapur in 1880. 1880. Nepali village Sikrijan was established in 1939 and Nepali Gao in 1930 where we are standing now. Areas like West Yard Colony, Railway Colony, Kalibadi, Marwadi Patti, Koliari Colony, Dovinala, Nepali Gao, Manipuri Bosni, Barmat Camp and many areas were established around the time of Indian independence when Dimapur was known as Manipur Road. These historical establishments highlight the long-standing presence of non-Naga Indian citizens in Dimapur and Nagaland. Dimapur railway station and airport has unique contribution to bring development in Nagaland through its existence prior to Indian independence. The Dimapur Town Committee, earlier known as Manipur Road, was established by non-Naga citizens with late Sardar Gurmukh Singh as the first chairman, who arranged land of present town committee, which was known as Bazar Committee prior to 1951. Leaders such as late Anwar Hussain, late Devlal Mech, late Lalit Mech, late Govinda Paira were elected as MLA prior to 1990. They have served in the assembly as cabinet ministers too. Prior to statehood, many colonies including those of Bengali, Garo, Kachari, Nepali, Bihari, Marwari and Assamese communities were established under the Assam state government administration. How can we forget national leaders like S.K. Datta, who is known as Kalu Datta, Bobby Panikar, Sardar Gurmukh Singh, Mangalal Jain, Fulchand Jain, J.C. Das, Manmohan Singh, Manmohan Mazumdar, Madan Sharma, Mani Bhattacharjee, P.P. Das, K.P. Bhattacharjee, Chunilal, Panalal Sethi, many such families, I don't know their name also, and many others who served with various capacity and contributed in Dimapur prior to statehood and after. The linguistic minority known as the non-Naga community has coexisted peacefully, contributing immensely to Nagaland's progress, development and nation building efforts. Thousands have served in education, banking and secretariat, healthcare, engineering and other government departments with dedication. Many non-Naga entrepreneurs have supported the state's development through selfless services in various instances. Yet suddenly a situation may arise in near future, leaving our children stateless without basic rights related to food, clothes and shelter. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with a quote from Nelson Mandela, who said, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in languages that goes to his heart. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. Let us speak to each other in our languages. Let us listen to each other's stories and let us celebrate our diversity through this conclave. Together we can build a brighter future for our linguistic minority communities living in Nagaland. Thank you once again for joining on this momentous occasion. Let us make this conclave a memorable one and let us work together towards a brighter future for all. আমি বেশি খুশি পাইছে আপনি কিমান মানুহ আহিছে আহি দিয়া নিমিত্তে বেশি খুশি পাইছে এইটো কনক্লেভ তো আপনি তো ভাল পৰা এনজয় কৰিবি এইটো প্ৰগ্ৰাম তো মৰ্নিং পৰা ষ্টাৰ্ট হৈছে এইটো প্ৰগ্ৰাম কালি আজি ইভিনিং দেবি আছে ইভিনিং সেশন আৰু কালি 2 বজে পৰা ৰাতি তক আৰু প্ৰগ্ৰাম আছে and I request all of you to please share your minds in this conclave and please help our non-Naga community, the community, minority community living in Nagaland to live here peacefully with dignity.
The agenda given to me was empowerment of our non-Naga youth and children and cultural heritage. It's a very wonderful theme we have kept for this morning. In a civilized, democratic, capitalistic world, it is considered sacrosanct to give equal opportunities to all. And a country is often judged by the state of the welfare of its minorities. It gives me great pride to be an Indian, where India has been one of the leading countries which give equal opportunities to its minorities. In India, the Constituent Assembly is over 75 years old, and the ideals of a country have been to give equal opportunities to all. A country like America, where people can realize their American dream, where their hard work is given due recognition, where they are able to earn without any discrimination, where talent is giving its weightage. Our Indian dream has been mostly to countries that treat their minorities well. I remember as a young college-going student, Nagaland had many non-Naga lawmakers, names which have been mentioned by our dear friend Vishnu, Govind Paira, Anwar Hussain, Devlal and Lalit Mech, who represented the non-Nagas in the Nagaland Assembly quite long ago. Our technical college quotas were also available to the permanent residents, non-Naga residents of Nagaland. But nowadays, it has become a matter of history only. The Dimapur Town Committee, which was more or less started by the non-Naga community, when it was changed over to Dimapur Municipal Council recently, even to give a nominated member status to some non-Naga, was so vehemently opposed that it brings quite sadness to our hearts to see where our Nagaland dream has gone. I am not here to criticize any political party or any government, but I am just stating you the facts of the matter. We have moved from being a just society to asserting the rights of the majority, asserting the rights of the powerful. Take the recent example of the American election. Till not too long ago, America was a country which had its roots in the democracy, which has its roots in liberty and freedom for all. I don't think this is a forum to criticize the incumbent president of America. But after his taking over as the president of USA, on 20th of January, in February, mid-February, when analyzed, the Indian stock market lost $55 billion. In Indian rupees, it amounts to 4,45,000 crores of rupees. That is something like 50 years of Nagaland budget. Imagine, before a month was complete. So when the majority, they assert their rights, then the minority suffer. You will find that a majority population, when they forget their minorities, there can be a lot of injustice. Forget about America, when we see our Nagaland, when we see the role of the gun in every walk of life, when you see the way the law and order affects everything, it is becoming untenable for the non-local community to raise their heads. There is loss of security, there is loss of prestige, and so many untold sufferings, mainly psychological, which hamper the free growth and liberty of the citizens who are called non-Naga. Our environment is very fragile. When a situation is developed in a neighboring state like Manipur, when there is practically civil war on the streets of Imphal, we cannot sit pretty here in Dimapur, because the people who are involved in the problem, or rather the creation of the problem in Manipur, are also involved in the law and order situation in Nagaland. How can you segregate Manipur from Nagaland? There is a need to solve the Manipur problem before we can solve our Naga problem. And I am quite sure you all keep that in your mind. The laws of our land may be very noble, but the truth is very bitter to swallow. We are faced with hardly any facilities which a non-Naga can enjoy in the state of Nagaland. It is not to blame anybody, but we have allowed the situation to develop into such a situation today. We talk about taxation, illegal taxation. We talk about so many things. But then I see a ray of hope. For a non-Naga living in Nagaland, for a permanent citizen settled in Nagaland for more than 2 years, 730 days is the limit after which a person becomes a voter by right. I don't think many of you have considered that as priority. Secondly, as a non-Naga in Nagaland, you are blessed because you are humble. आपका नम्रता से आपका what do you call it in Hindi? Yeah, by being humble, परमेश्वर आपको उठा देगा. जिसको घमंड है उसको परमेश्वर दबाता है. तो आपका समय जैसे भी आता है, when you see the situation that you are in, your humility will pull you up. Your education will pull you up. Your creativeness and your ingenuity in business in all forms will pull you up. The non-Naga community has been very diplomatic. They have diplomatically steered this country, steered this Nagaland to what it is today. And I give my deepest respect to those of your ancestors who have shaped this place, not by authority, but by being humble and by being steering the affairs of the state in a very diplomatic manner. I'd like to wish all of you God's blessing and the very best in the future to come. Jai Hind.
I would like to dwell only on a couple of points. The first one will be that every individual is a minority in their place of settlement somewhere. But at large, we all belong to a group of majority in our own state of origin. And I believe you all came here to settle in Nagaland, and that you belong to some older culture and more refined culture, and perhaps maybe more populous than Naga people, different tribes of Nagaland. To me, I do not like to use the word minority because it is not good for the young minds. I don't know, it is already a nationally accepted nomenclature, but for you, I would like you to use non-Naga linguistic forum rather than using the word minority. That is one thing. Even the preamble of our constitution, the Indian constitution, it starts with the words, "We the people of India." It does not segregate people into minorities or majority people. So I think we have to remember that. And therefore, my first opinion is that you use non-Naga linguistic forum rather than minority. On a deeper note, we Nagas comprises of 15 different tribes. Just yesterday we went to Meluri for the inauguration of the new district, the 17th district of Nagaland. And the area, the district, is inhabited by Puchuri people. And the population of Puchuri people is just 20,000 plus, 22,000 something. Maybe perhaps it will be less than some of the communities here, the population of some of the communities. And in general, we Nagas are still a developing society. Our civilization is just about 150 years old. Yes, we have become more educated. Many people have gone into higher level of education. But I would say that as a society, we are still a nascent society. And compared to this, as I've mentioned, you all belong to a much refined, much senior, much more advanced society. And therefore, today, as I stand before here, I would like to say that we are here to live together as part and parcel of Nagaland, and more importantly, as citizen of the greatest nation, India. And therefore, there is a calling for you, important calling for you, a social responsibility, that you live a principled life and show to the other Nagas the way of actual living. This is the first point that I would like to impose upon you. That you exhibit a refinement of cleanliness and attitudinal principles of life. This is one important thing I would like to mention. The second point that I would like to talk to you is about year 2018. It was the starting of the third millennium. Particularly for Christians, this was important because it signified 2 years since the birth of Jesus Christ. And everyone entered the new millennium, the third millennium, with so much enthusiasm, so much jubilation. And I still remember I was one of them. At that period of time, there was a revolution that was happening all over the world. The application of information and information technology. It was like the world was transcending into a different arena. There was, from the age of macro age to from macro to micro age. The world was becoming very different at a very fast-paced level. Those days, I remember I used to attend conclave like this of youth and students. And I used to tell them, very soon this world is going to become a globalized world. And today, we live in that world. And I would like to say that, we have come through nano age at a very fast-paced development. And again, today we are unprecedentedly taken over by the age of artificial intelligence. And therefore, today we see that you can even control the environment of your home with your smartphone. I can even go to the banks at midnight, shopping or marketing at the comfort of my bed. And that is what is happening today. And therefore, in this milieu of fast-paced development, I think every one of you, particularly the youth and the students, to take cognizance of what is happening around you and live accordingly. There was a lot of debate when computer age came into the being. People thought computers will overtake us, humans, in terms of job, in terms of its availability. And today, with the artificial intelligence age coming, again, people have started saying that artificial intelligence will take over people. But I would like to say no. And even recently, our Prime Minister Modi ji had even said that artificial intelligence will not take over humans. Rather, it will create more revenues, more jobs. That is what he said. And so, we should remember this. Therefore, particularly to the students, I would like to encourage you or exhort you to develop that sense of global outlook in your appearance and in your attitude. And importantly, face the fast-paced world along with it. I would like to say that you and you alone are responsible to create your own ability. Ability, it doesn't come by fluke. It comes by choice. And therefore today, during this conclave, you have to start thinking and decide what you want to become. And you should not wait for things to happen. Education, I think, it becomes meaningless unless it is associated with optimum level of refinement. And also, it doesn't mold you into what you can become or what sort of productive citizen you can become unless you have the will. And therefore, talking about productive citizens, of all the people in the world, I like Japanese people. Why this is so is because they are so cultured. They are so sensitive to the needs of others. And also, they are so honest and hardworking. And therefore, particularly to the students here, I would like to exhort you to educate yourself with dedication. That is one thing. Then will yourself to develop attributes of the people like Japan. And to the other youths here, who probably perhaps you have completed your studies, I would like to exhort you to learn to live ethically with integrity and responsibility. And this is, I think, to me, it's very important. Live with an attitude of work-loving and strive for investment and saving. And most of all, let respect for elders be your guiding force. These are the two main points that I would like to share with you today. But I would also like to clarify some points, because many a times, particularly from the other scheduled tribes of Nagaland and even our brothers, Gorkha brothers, they have asked me if we have settled way before the statehood and we should be considered as indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland. But I would like to clarify here that indigenous inhabitants of Nagaland are those Nagas who have settled since time immemorial. When I talk about time immemorial, it is a little difficult to define. Even my own vocabulary, by way of carbon dating, we have come to know that my village settlement is about 1,000 years old. So that, if it can define the meaning of, immemorial, I think that is it. But most of all, to be an indigenous inhabitant of Nagaland, it has to be certified by the respective village council. That is one. The other Indians who are settled here were before the formation of the statute. You definitely have the right, and you can be considered as domicile. Domicile, permanent residents, or happy inhabitants of India. That is what I would like to say. Many people are confused that Scheduled Tribe of Nagaland means only Nagas. But we have 5 different scheduled tribes in Nagaland. One is obviously the Nagas, second is the Kachari, third is the Kukis, fourth is the Mikir, and fifth are the Karos. So if we can remember this, many Kacharis and Karos, they come to me and tell me, you Nagas are having program, but we are not invited. So we are together form the scheduled tribes of Nagaland. So definitely somewhere we take our own meeting, have our own meeting. Likewise, you people, you may have your own meetings. That is what I would like to clarify. Then many times, many people talk about atrocities that is happening in parts of India against Christians, against Muslims. I would like to mention here, we Christians and we Muslims should not have ill feelings towards all the Hindus. This is what I would like to mention, because Indian population consists of nearly 82% Hindus. Not all Hindus are bad. Maybe it's 1 to 2% of Hindus who take extreme steps. And therefore, as Christians and as Muslims, the minority as mentioned here, we have to go into the minds of the good Hindus, talk to them that such atrocities happening all over many parts of India is not good for the nation. So with these few words, I would like to thank the organizers for including me in this program. I am honored to be in presence of our Honorable former Chief Minister and Governor, and also Madam Tegi. Thank you so much. God bless.
আমি মনে করি যে ডক্টর এসসি জামিনের বক্তৃতাটা খুবই দারুণ হয়েছে, অ্যান্ড ফর্মার ডেপুটি স্পিকার যে কথাগুলো ওনার বক্তৃতাতে বলেছে, যে নাগাল্যান্ডে আজকে যারা বসবাস করছে, ডিমাপুর হোক বা কোহিমা হোক, যেখানেই হোক, ওদের হিস্ট্রিটা কি, ইতিহাসটা কি, কিভাবে ওরা নাগাল্যান্ডে আসলো, এবং আমি মনে করি যে এই হিস্ট্রিটা আমাদের সবাইকেই মনে রাখতে হবে, আমাদের বাঙালিদেরও মনে রাখতে হবে, যারা নাগাল্যান্ডের ট্রাইবাল কমিউনিটি আছেন তাদেরকেও মনে রাখতে হবে। সো উই অল মাস্ট রিমেম্বার আওয়ার পাস্ট, অ্যান্ড ইফ উই রিমেম্বার আওয়ার পাস্ট we cannot go wrong. Kintu I want to say one sensitive thing. What is the sensitive thing? We come from a region which is the northeast region, and I think it is the only region in whole of India which has seen the creation of 4 states between 1962 and 1972. So we have seen Mizoram, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal. All these new states, some of which started as a union territory and then went on to get full statehood. The reason I am saying this is not because I don't believe in unity in diversity. I do believe in unity in diversity. But we have to realize that the northeastern states are a very, very, very sensitive region. Sensitive for different reasons, historical reasons, that go before independence. Like I have read in many books that when the British were leaving India, the undivided India, and when Sardar Patel, Pandit Nehru, etc. were trying to talk to all the princely states to bring them together as a union of India, there were several instances of people in the northeast of India, because they were so cut out, remote, especially tribal people who still live in forests, who still depend on their land in forest. By the time they actually realized that the British were leaving and something was happening with the Union of India, they found out much later than the rest of India. So that is the history of Northeast. Now, another thing, a lot of youngsters, this is a youth conclave. So also the reality of our history is, when the princely states became different states of India, whether we like it or not, these states were always created on the basis of language and culture. Today, if Nagaland went out of Assam, if Meghalaya went out of Assam, it is also because of language and culture. So everybody's language and culture is very important to each one of us. আজকে যদি আমরা ছত্তিশগড় বা তেলেঙ্গানা বা উত্তরাখণ্ডের ব্যাপারও দেখি, there is another reason that different communities want different states or different communities want autonomy. Like we have the 6th scheduled areas in many of the northeastern states is deprivation. When you feel discriminated, when you feel deprived. So in this is the right convention for me to say and repeat, I think, what the advisor to the CM, Dr. Murray, had said, that আজকে একজন বাঙালি হিসাবে নাগাল্যান্ডে আপনারা মাইনরিটি হতে পারেন, but Bengali is the second most spoken language in this country. এটা আপনারা ভুলবেন না। I think প্রথমে হিন্দি আছে, 2 নম্বরে বাংলা আছে, 3 নম্বরে, if I am not sure, I think it may be Maharashtra. So the question is, আমরা নাগাল্যান্ডেই থাকি, মণিপুরে থাকি, বা অরুণাচলে থাকি, বা মেঘালয়াতে থাকি, বা দিল্লিতেই থাকি, যেখানেই থাকি, আমাদের মনে রাখতে হবে যে আমাদের মাতৃভাষা one of the most spoken languages in India. Number 1. Number 2, আমি বলবো যে আমাদের সবচেয়ে বড়, বাঙালিদের সবচেয়ে বড় বিপদটাকে আমি বলে দিই। Our biggest problem in the northeastern region is the fact that our language is very similar to the language or almost identical to the language of Bangladesh. আজকে এই তশিলাদিত্য দাসের কথা হচ্ছিল that we are Siletis, so we were part of Sylhet, etc. And history will tell you that the Sylhetis were one community that had been part of Assam as a state right from inception. এখন লাইন যখন পার্টিশন হলো, যখন ইস্ট পাকিস্তান হলো, এটা কি অনেকে আমরা ভুলে যাই, কিন্তু অ্যাকচুয়ালি দুবার পার্টিশন হয়েছে বাংলার। There were 2 partitions. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But the fact is that we were there even before that as Assam. But আমাদের বিপদের ব্যাপারটা হলো, এটা আসামেই হোক, মেঘালয়াতেই হোক, ত্রিপুরাতেই হোক, আর যেখানেই হোক, is that our language gives the impression to many people that we are illegal migrants from Bangladesh. Today I am saying as a Bengali leader that we also don't want that India as a country, whether it is Delhi, whether it is Meghalaya, whether it is Assam, we also don't want that illegal migrants should come into our country. Okay, কিন্তু আমি একটা কথা বলে দেই, আমাদের সংবিধানে লেখা আছে, what does right to life in our constitution say? Right to life is a fundamental right in this country. In this constitutional provision, the word citizen is not used. মানে right to life মানে বেঁচে থাকার বা জীবনের অধিকারটা কিন্তু নাগরিকত্বর সঙ্গে কোনো যোগাযোগ নেই। কারণ আমাদের দেশের সংবিধান যারা লিখেছিল ওরা লিখে গেছে যে আজকে যদি আমরা ইন্ডিয়াতে ঢুকে পড়ি ফর হোয়াটএভার রিজন, বাই মিস্টেক, বিকজ অফ পভার্টি, উইদাউট পেপারস, যারা ইলিগালিও ঢুকে, দে হ্যাভ দ্য রাইট টু লাইফ ইন দিস কান্ট্রি। You can deport them. We support deportation. Please don't get me wrong. If you come illegally, you must be deported as a foreigner. But that does not mean that there should be any kind of breach of human rights with anybody who crosses the border. And last but not the least, আমি বলবো যে assimilation of a society is extremely important. So jara Bangalira, the people who are Bengali speaking here, people who are Hindi speaking here, you also have to make the effort to merge with the larger society of Nagaland or Manipur or anywhere in the country. So मैं हिंदी में भी बोलती हूँ, बहुत यहाँ मारवाड़ी कम्युनिटी के लोग हैं कि आप लोगों को चाहे बंगाली हो चाहे हिंदी स्पीकिंग हो, कोई भी भाषा के हो, आप लोगों का भी कर्तव्य है कि आप लोग अपने समाज से निकल के नागालैंड में जो समाज के लोग हैं, ट्राइबल हैं, जो भी है, उनके साथ मिलना, बैठना, उठना, वो हमारा भी कर्तव्य होता है। আর আমি একটা জিনিসে বিশ্বাস করি, এটা আমার বাবা প্রয়াত নেতা সন্তোষ মন্দির বলে গেছেন এবং আমার নেত্রী পশ্চিমবঙ্গের মুখ্যমন্ত্রী মমতা বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়ও বলে গেছে যে উগ্র জাতীয়তাবাদী কোনদিন করবে। So you must respect your language, but you must respect everybody else's language and culture also. যে আজকে আমি যদি আসামে বলি যে আমি বাংলা ভাষাকে ভালোবাসি কিন্তু আমি বোডো ভাষাকে ভালোবাসি না বা আমি অসমীয়া ভাষার বিরুদ্ধে বলি, দ্যাট ইজ নট কারেক্ট। একজন বাঙালি হিসাবে যদি আমি চাই I want respect for my language, then I have to respect other people's language also and other people's culture also, and I respect every culture, every language. Politics is jayega, but I feel that unless we follow that path in India, there will always be divisions. In this parliament session, Dr. Jabir has left, I single-handedly spoke about what is happening in Manipur. So today I may be by language a linguistic minority of Assam, a linguist minority of the northeast region, but अगर सदन में कोई सीना ठोक के बोला मणिपुर के लिए, तो सुष्मिता देव ने बोला जिसका मातृभाषा बंगाली है। I spoke for the people of Manipur to say that Manipur is divided and we need to work together to bring back normalcy in Manipur. If today Manipur doesn't recover from this situation, then I can tell you that the entire northeast will fall back. You can keep saying look east policy, act east policy, हमको साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के साथ ट्रेड करना है, but reality is that today Manipur, the kind of connectivity Manipur could have created to Myanmar, to other countries in the Southeast Asia, it was the most suited gateway to Southeast Asia. So we have to unitedly make sure that Northeast remains peaceful. We have to make sure that every language is respected. We have to make sure that human rights is protected. We have to make sure that the constitution is upheld by us. আমাকে আজকে এই মঞ্চে আমন্ত্রণ করে বক্তৃতা রাখার সুযোগ যারা করে দিয়েছেন তাদেরকে আমি অন্তরের অন্তঃস্থল থেকে ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। I thank everybody who's organized this, who gave me an opportunity to come here, and I hope that the Linguistic Minority Forum of Nagaland will work harder to make Nagaland a more developed state, a better state, a progressive state, and will work closely in a united way with other communities in Nagaland. With that hope and that request, I will end my speech and also take everybody's permission, because I have a flight back to Guwahati, which is boarding at 2:40. So I will definitely hear the speech of Shiladitya for 10 minutes or so, and then I will go to the airport. Thank you very, very much. I wish all of you all the very best. I love Nagaland. Last time I came for the Hornbill Festival, it was an excellent festival. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and if any of you feel, if anybody in Nagaland feels that I need to speak about the people of Nagaland, I will speak. And if you hear my former deputy speaker, if you hear my speech in Parliament in this budget session, I have said that why are the MPs from Northeast who are sitting in the government, why are they not talking about Nagaland Accord? Why is Naga Accord not being implemented? I have said it in Parliament. And if anybody feels there is something further to be said about the greater interest of the state, I am definitely making myself available. The chairman Vishnu Bhattacharya has my number. Please take it and please call me. आप सबका बहुत धन्यवाद. Thank you very much.
Nagaland TV, Sob Manulaga Awas. Watch us live on Geo TV and on your television sets as well. For Dimapur viewers, we are on channel number 994 in Global Chapter, and Kohima and Mokokchung viewers, switch to channel number 138 on Hornbill Digital. For all news and updates, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Twitter.